you are talking about this evening session.
Dr. Shagun, you're live or from YouTube, so maybe suggestion after.
Okay. You are talking about this evening session.
Dr. Shagun, you're live or from YouTube, so maybe suggestion after.
Okay.
Dr. Shagun, you're live.
Thank you for watching Ben Television. This program is You Decide, and I'm glad you are watching. Ben Television is the best Black television in Europe, watched worldwide. This program will try to give you information, facts, and analysis, and then you can make up your mind and decide. I'm so glad to have eminent personalities in the house. We have Otumba Bode Oseni. Otumba, you're welcome to this program.
Good morning, Dr. Johnson, and good morning, viewers.
We have our own in-house researcher, Nat Yako. Nat, you are welcome to the program.
Good morning, Dr. Johnson, my Lord Spiritual. Good morning, viewers.
I'm so glad you are here with me. And we have other viewers even in the Zoom. And we have people all over the world watching this program. And so we want to discuss what is ripening right now in the United Kingdom. Early this morning, the news broke that the United States of America has cornered all the possible bottles of the drug remdesivir, and that this remdesivir is the best so far in dealing with COVID-19. It has proved very useful, but many of us will know that the United States has taken the lead in the number of deaths from COVID-19. At the last count, it was 125,000 deaths in the United States. And then President Trump felt that he should get all the bottles for the 360 million Americans. Now it's becoming serious because the United Kingdom really wants to get his own hand on this drug. And so we are having challenges. Is it America first for Americans to be alive while the rest are struggling, or what? Nat, what are the latest things that we're hearing, especially concerning this remdesivir? What's the latest now?
Well, this is not the first time America will corner all the available drugs. They did that some months ago, even when the drugs were airbound in Turkey. They had to be diverted to America. But the issue is, it is not even this drug thing that will sort out this corona thing. We have been told it is a question of the lifestyle of individuals, and it also the environment one grew up, one was brought up. Above all, the immune system of individuals. And for us to boost one's immunity, you have to watch what you eat by way of dietary regulation. You have to be involved in a lot of exercise, physical exercise. You have to have enough rest, at least 8 hours for adults every day. You also have to think of the alternative therapy, which we have boiled down to the nature. You were born in a particular place, you grew up in a particular place, your health is conditioned in that particular place, especially the natural herbs available. And we have seen the potency of these herbs. Look at what Madagascar has done and some other countries. And then above all, you have to be self-motivational. you have to boost your body by speaking good to your body.
Thank you, Nat. Otumba, the British government today, especially the business secretary, was really complaining that Donald Trump did not consider the rest of the world. He cornered practically every bottle of remdesivir. Should we just allow him to get away with it, or we should just resort our fate to what Nat just said?
Thank you. I can understand the need for the panic buying. When you look at the statistics, the larger number of people that are infected in America and that have died. So, but having said that, I don't know where is our country. I don't know where they are looking at or where they are when we have almost similar situation where we're also losing thousands, or we are already lost thousands of our people. So, and my understanding is it's just like when you work in stock exchange, you are representative of all the companies that are listed out there. So I cannot imagine that the source or how America was able to, mop all the available drug we are talking about, and what are other countries doing. So again, it also shows clearly the amount of premium maybe I can say America put on his own people or her own people. So put all this together in addition to what Nat said, I think there will be a kind of a home session. We need to come back home and start asking government questions. How did all this happen? Again, as you know, America will want to pretend to be the macho, the strongest, the biggest of everything. But it all depends on how much we, as maybe smaller than America in size and power, also put, because there's certain things, if we are there and also have tried to take as much as we need, America cannot force it, cannot take it away from us.
Well, you know, in that game, it is a price that determines how much are you ready to pay for a bottle. If America is ready to pay double yours, then they won't sell to you.
Yeah, but then again, that's what I'm trying to say. Price might matter, but at the same time, I don't think if America had offered per bottle of this, say $10, and then it's not a question of can we match it or not. We are looking at the same human being dying in Spain, in Italy, and in the UK. So the issue of how much American had offered should have never been an argument. But like I said, there will be a soul searching, and then we are going to find out.
The industry is a serious industry based on money. But thank you very much. I just want to ask Nat, there is a second lockdown in Leicester as we speak. Leicester City has got its own second lockdown, and this appears to be even more stringent because of the serious rate of infection in Leicester. And many people have said that in Leicester, there are more Black and minority ethnic groups, a very large proportion of them. Why did this happen in that area? Is it because of these scientific discussion that the Black skin cannot absorb enough vitamin D from the sun here in Europe, whereas we can absorb it a lot in Africa? Is that the reason why this second spike has happened in Leicester?
Okay, let's start with the vitamin D thing. It's not that the Black skin cannot absorb enough. It is not even there here. The natural vitamin B we get from the sun is not even here. So you have to go for supplements. There are supplements, vitamin D supplements. But again, I think the issue is that even if even if it's age 1, 2, 3, up to 30, 40, 50, 60, unless you migrated into this country, wherever you are coming from, your immune system will have been conditioned. It's not something you just pick in a day. And so and I'm surprised that it is less. I mean, it is less. I would have thought Birmingham and the Midlands, where there's a concentration of the BME group of people, will be the first for a lockdown.
Okay. Otumba, London appears to be reasonable. Londoners, they appear to be reasonable. Many of them are still not out, even though they're allowed to do what they've been given their restriction removed to a large extent. It appears people are reasonable in London. Does that mean that's why we're not seeing a second?
Oh, no, it's okay. I will let you.
There's an interference. Yeah,
Yes,
can you repeat the last question? There was an interference. Sorry about that.
London appears to be reasonable. Not many people are out and about. They're working at home. And do you envisage us having a second spike here in London, like in Leicester?
Thank you. I wish I could know all these kind of answers to these hypothetical questions. But like you rightly said, I think most Londoners are very, very reasonable. I don't want to use the word matured. It looks like we know more than the people in the rural area. Yeah, Leicester is also a big place. So, but for me, I think what government is doing is so far so good. They're doing their best. It's where it bonds, is where it's anything that happens, like it's now happening. The spike is now coming up, or the second wave is coming up in Leicester. So hence, I think they want to do it area by area. So far in London, I think the statistics is not showing that we are getting closer to second wave yet.
But many people are not even going all over the place. The trains are generally empty. Buses are, compared with when people should be working. The trains are empty. The tubes are not filled to capacity at the time people are rushing to work.
Because many people are working from home.
They're working from home. That's it. All right. So we may not see the second spike, unlike in United States, where there have been 7 states found with second spike, especially in Florida. When they were swimming in the Florida beach, I think everybody shouted, but nobody listened. Now they have to clamp down on them. Well, talking about remdesivir, this is a wonder magical medicine that we have so far. They said it's not 100% working, and we will just want to now look at the ex-governor in Oyo State. May he so rest in peace, Governor Ajimobi. We understand that he would have been alive if he had got remdesivir. And they tried to purchase one from America, but there were only 100 in a particular hospital that they all went to. And so it was impossible. Now we have to, they have to look for another from Bangladesh. And that happened to be fake. It never worked. The man has gone to be with his maker. What lesson does this teach us in Nigeria, in particular, Africa in general, that we should have been working at home, getting hospital to a level of excellence, but we ignore, especially the University College Hospital in Ibadan, was ignored to a large extent, that even Ajimobi could not be there on a very serious note. Now, do we learn any lesson from this?
Well, there are lessons to learn, but the challenge to human race is that we never learn any lesson. We just think it won't happen to us as individuals, families, society, or a nation. we really don't learn anything. And we had the secretary to the federal government of Nigeria saying that he didn't know things were so bad in the health sector. What a shame for such a statement to come from the secretary to the federal government, chairman of the presidential task force on COVID-19. In the case of His Excellency late now and the distinguished Senator Ishak Ajimobi, he was governor of Oyo State for 8 solid years. And I think that time he was governor, all resources that would have been used to upgrade the health system of facilities were used for something else. And so this is the bitter lesson we are now learning as individuals, as family, as a nation, that I know if the airspace were not also locked down, all these people who are in Nigeria will have gone to India. They will have gone to India or Egypt. They may not be allowed to come to the UK or
but the challenge is that, like you said, there are lessons to be learned, but whether we have learned it is a different issue. But let me ask our guy from Nigeria. Otumba, I'm coming to you in a minute because I know you must have a lot to say about Ajimobi's challenges, especially after. We have a guy from Nigeria. He's been senior editor and a reporter. He's been with the Nigerian presidential team for a long time. And Mr. Festus, how are you doing? On mute, please. Yeah. Thank you.
Hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, so tell us, you are on the ground. How did it go with His Excellency Ajimobi's challenges at the end of his life?
Okay, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody that is present to discuss this, because until we start talking about Nigeria and how things affect us, we will continually go around this circle that is becoming a nightmare gradually. Now, the question you ask about if we have learned.
Please unmute him again. Aha. Yeah. We can't hear now. No. No, we can't hear you. No.
So that's Nigerian network.
No. Maybe his own gadget. Okay, I think say something now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah. Don't you?
Okay.
All right then.
Okay. Now, like I was saying, I said you ask a question if we have learned anything from the process of what happened and how we are not able to access good proper health care in Nigeria, and everybody tries to jet out. Now, the thing with us in Nigeria is sometimes almost everybody blames the politician. They blame people that are in government, thinking that they have this magic wand. Our value system in Nigeria is whack. Our value system in Nigeria is what you can refer to as, some people that are very spiritual will tell you that it is demonic. Some of these politicians, they have good intention. Now, you call somebody and say, UCH, for example, as an hospital, how much do you need to bring it up to standard for it to do what it's supposed to do? They tell you, the contractors and everybody tells you 2 billion naira, for example. Now, as a governor, you give out this money. Do you know that from the contractor to the civil servant to the cleaner in UCH is looking for a way to get free money out of that money? So at the end of the day, you discover that nothing is actually done. And you don't, a lot of people, they say that you are the head, there's so much, the box stops in your table, there's so much you can do. Now, you don't expect a governor to go down to the level of having to tell a bricklayer that you must use 2 bags of cement for this work and not 1 bag of cement. you must use so iron rod, you must use so everybody sees money that comes from the government as a bonus where you can quickly lash on it. And instead of using the money to do the work, they use the money to block one or two people that could ask them questions, or they look for a way to blackmail them and say, okay, you know that the other time too you did this one, so I'm taking my pound of flesh from this way. So now going to our health system in Nigeria, until we all believe that we have a role to play to make these institutions work, nothing can be done. The governor, the president, the local government chairman, and those that are in authority, they are just one. By the time they finish signing, by the time they finish approving, who does the work? I was in a university at the time where PTF money, I guess, was used to build a house. Do you know that after building a house, then we were still using window unit in Nigeria for air conditioner? They said the house was not strong enough to put that window unit AC, that by the time they perforate those buildings to put about 10 or 15 AC, that the integrity of that building will be challenged. Now I asked myself, and I asked somebody, I said, who is the person that approved this project that, governor, you can now pay, this project is complete? Who approved it? Is a Nigerian that will use that project because the person is part of the public works department in that school. It was a school. They approved it. So now, if you approve and they give you something, what happens? I was in my village about 10 years back. NDDC paid for a road to be constructed. Now, the asphalt was supposed to be 3 layers for the road to be constructed because of the terrain. They did not know, because of my nature, they didn't know that I was the son of the soil. They didn't know that I can speak the language. The youth chairman, I overheard him talking to the contractor, said, how much does it cost you to put 1 layer of asphalt? The contractor, I don't know, maybe he was also waiting for that kind of corruption transaction. He gave the amount, and the youth chairman said, okay, what you are going to do is you are going to put 1 layer. Then the money for the 2 layers, let us calculate it and share it. That was where I came in, and I told them that, listen, this thing has been approved in Abuja, that money has been given to you to do this road. As far as Abuja is concerned, this road is already constructed. So if you decide to do a substandard work.
Let me ask you one question before I go to Otumba. We've listened to you carefully. What measures do you think we can take? Now we know our problem. What measures do you think we can take to stop
First and foremost, if you ask me, I'm going to speak from my experience reporting government for a very long time. First and foremost, Nigerians are not ready for change. The way to get it right now is to start. It looks very, very long, but if we now start to de-emphasize what money can buy and emphasize the values that we can all get from what we do, I think Nigeria will be better. People, you'll be surprised, this one that was just arrested in Dubai, people are envying that guy. Now, I think until proven otherwise, he is guilty of fraud. You have young men that see him as a role model. The reason is simple. They just want to flaunt wealth. They just want to flaunt money. So until we get our value system.
When they bring a patient to a doctor, the doctor does not look at the amount of the problem. He just starts diagnosing and they're trying to treat. We have diagnosed, we have to treat. So how do we treat the patients in Nigeria?
We should now start from the family, the school, and the basis for which people join civil service. Nigeria government is the highest employer of labor in Nigeria, as it is, because to a very large extent, the private sector is gradually fading because of everybody talks about just stability and a few things. So government institutions that are responsible for checkmating misconduct in governance, misconduct in construction, misconduct in running of government activities should not live up to responsibility. And the only way they can live up to responsibility is for their employment to follow the due process, not on the level of I know you, you know me, because he that has nothing at stake. Now, the SGF wouldn't have said if we didn't know that there was rot to this level, because we are all stuck here. That was why everybody started to open their eyes and we see the reality. So everybody should know that whatever you do, we are all going to suffer for it. So there is a need for a paradigm shift. There is a need for a value system shift for us to get to where we want to get.
Thank you, Mr. Festus. Otumba, you have had a man from Nigeria. Please, what's your take now? Have we learned anything from what happened to Jimobi and even what Mr. Festus has
said? From all what Mr. Festus has said, none of them is going to change. Everything he said, nothing is going to change for a long, long time to come until when we put a similar structure that is so working effectively in countries, in civilized countries. And the structure is when nobody can afford to take advantage of anybody. Here in this country, to build a house or any construction, it goes through almost about 14 levels. So it's just not an award of a contract to a bystander or just an ordinary party member. So if you don't follow all this, I'm happy to hear that most of us have been to university. We've gone through the different level before we get to university. These are stages. The stages when we don't go through, we don't know anything about it. If I ask Mr. Festus, what's the difference between UK and Nigeria? They have government here, they have government there. Why is everything working here and nothing's working in many African countries?
In UK, you promote institutions over individuals. In Nigeria, individuals are the institutions. Whatever they say is law and nobody can stop it.
Oh, very good answer. And I can tell you, these institutions, are they robots? Who are in the institutions? See, at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is, Mr. Festus, we as a Nigerians or as Africans, or as we are, I still struggle with this question I want to ask you. Are we really spiritually developed? Are we really want to do something good for ourselves? Here you are, if you are given a contract of 100 million, most of the people, in fact, very close to you, all what they are after is the immediate gain. And in the process, they will run down the project. So, and that's exactly what you get. If you have a situation where a organizer has no future, he has to struggle to get everything he needs in life. He will want to start cutting corners. These are problems. If you have workers who are working for government and they're not paid for how many months? Even 1 month. It's too bad not to pay salary. So these are the things. People will start cutting corners. We don't have a system that will checkmate, that will make sure that the president cannot just do any silly things. What's happening in America, what's happening in the UK. So the problem here is we need to deal with the fundamentals. We need to deal with the main cause and causes of our problem. Because what we have been talking about is just effect. It's just effect of our...
Thank you. I know we have Dr. Akindele in the Zoom. Dr. Akindele, I'm coming to you in a minute, but let me agree with Mr. Festus and disagree with Mr. Festus. I agree with all the problems you have set up. My point of divergence is where you said we cannot rectify it on time. I'm telling you, if they took 50 British men, British workers to Nigeria and say fix Nigeria, I'm not boasting. In 3-5 years, they will fix Nigeria. They will sack, they will jail.
We will frustrate them. We will frustrate them, I can assure you.
No, you see,
you will not be able to frustrate them because they put a system in place. You cannot frustrate them.
Let me tell you, when you know that you have power and authority, you are difficult to frustrate. It is when you have mind to be dubious that you can be easily frustrated. Let me tell you, I came out from the system. I worked in the National Assembly. I worked in the university. So I came out of the system. If you have anything at stake, that is, you have a land, you have family, that's when you can be frustrated. When you work like you have nothing at stake, whoever else is you throw them into the dustbin. Then they know that you have nothing at stake. You see, we live in a place here in the UK. All of us want to break the law if we can, but you dare not break the law. They will get it eventually. We want to park on double yellow line, but you know that you'll be given a ticket. If you don't pay the ticket, they will come and tow your car. If you don't see the pay, they will come and take your television. If you don't take, they'll come and take your house. You don't want that to happen to you. So you quickly pay the 200 pounds they ask you to pay.
Yeah.
So you want to frustrate, it will be difficult. But where we have half-hearted people, where we have people who believe that, oh, I don't want my wife to be kidnapped, I don't want my, these are people who are ready. But that's where the point of divergence, that if we can get serious people who, look at when Muritala Mohammed got there, things changed like we've never seen before. One man. But we of course, they killed him, didn't they? So your point of frustration. Now, let me ask Dr. Akindele. Dr. Akindele, you have been in London for many, many years, I say London, England, and you are very keen on what is going on in Nigeria. And being a medical doctor, having heard what we are discussing on this remdesivir and Ajimobi's death, he could not lay his hand on one bottle with 50,000 US dollars. Have we learned a lesson in Nigeria?
Well, good morning, everyone. Nigerian problem is, as we all know, is much deeper than sometimes we think. You know, maybe you take something like this to change us, because it's not, to me, I don't think it's the leadership alone. I think those being led are as bad. You know, I mean, any of us can probably come up with an example of our member of the family. I mean, family is the unit, the smallest unit of the society, and you'll find that some of them either rip you off or trying to do a project, one project or the other. So it's a big thing. Maybe, you know, God has his own time. Maybe this COVID will, you know, probably whip our people to shape. I don't know, because I mean, if everybody's been doing their bit, you know, building the institution. Institution is the most important thing. I think this big manism we have in Nigeria is, you know, is causing the problem. Because if we focusing on the individual, the leaders alone, the big on top, rather than all of us as Nigerians, you know, you know, contributing to developing our nation, I don't think you would, you know, going back to the medicine thing you were asking, mind you, the medicine itself helps, but it does not actually cure it. But, you know, the remdesivir is only delay, you know, is it 2 or 3 days maybe, or something like that, you know, but that's as it is now.
Yeah, but Donald Trump bought everything. Why did he buy everything?
Well,
Panic
I mean,
buyer.
well, you see, these people, because the way they're so corruptly minded, they, you know, they have money, they think they can, it's for them only, rather than, I mean, you see some of their mansions and you see people on the street, you know, you see, I mean, one of the videos where they are having maybe a feast or something. And then as soon as you get out of his compound, you see people on the street who cannot eat one square meal a day. You know, so they amass all this money to themselves, thinking that money can, you know, bail them out. But we see now that the money itself is not gonna, if you don't put stuff, if you don't put institution, if you don't put structure in, it's going to bite you in the face. I mean, according to what I read.
Actually, we're just about to go to the details of the burial of Ajimobi. The man died in a very bad situation, in my own opinion, and his body could not be buried according to the Islamic rites, which says you should bury immediately or at best the following day. Nat, bring us up to date. What happened at the death of Ajimobi and why he could not be buried, and the politics where the whole governors of Nigeria, they had to come in?
Well, late Senator Ajimobi died on a Thursday, and by the injunction of Islam, you shouldn't be allowed a dead body to stay beyond 24 hours. But he died in Lagos, and he was to be buried in Ibadan. The issue of where will he be buried became a tug of war between the Oyo State government and the Ajimobi family, especially Mrs. Florence Ajimobi. It looks that she wanted a particular place near the state secretariat and a choice land, but that land was under litigation. And so that went on for Friday, Saturday, and then on Sunday, Ajimobi was buried somewhere in Oloyele, GRA. And even that particular facility he was buried in was under litigation. And the
What was
question
the
we asked,
contention of the Oyo State government?
yeah, what do you say?
The contention of the Oyo State government with Mrs. Florence.
Yeah, the Oyo State government. And the other thing is that a man who had COVID-19 is dead. The NCDC has specification as to where that person should be buried. But I believe that the Oleyele GRA place is residential. It is residential, and I'm not too sure, but the governor said he had to concede, he had to break the law to allow such things. Hopefully that nerves will calm down. But apart from that, there were shows that shouldn't have been allowed to be seen in the public, especially when the Governors Forum, headed by Dr. Fayemi, the governor of Ekiti State, went on a condolence visit. We saw and heard the exchange of words between Mr. Lawrence Ajimobi and the deputy governor for your state. We begin to appreciate the circumstances she was going through. We understand that part of a stage in the mourning process is anger, but the anger has to be controlled. Now,
and Ganduje was there. Ganduje is a
in-law.
In-law. Who married who?
Ganduja's daughter married Ajimobi's son.
So that's why he was there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that background. Otumba, what are your takes on this one?
My take, as usual, is because we are in a community, we are in a society, we are in a polity, we are in a country where there's no rule of law. Everybody just take laws, they just do whatever they want to do. And they know to a great extent they will get away with it. You alluded to a situation in this country where if you do excessive speeding, you get tickets and you dare not. You cannot even call your best friend who is Tony Blair. You cannot ask anybody to, and you cannot go to the office of the in Preston, where Dr. a very good friend, where the office of the speeding so far. You can't go there and bribe anybody, because what is working here, what is making everything tick here is rule of law. 99% of what we have been talking about is because the lackadaisical way of doing things in Nigeria. We don't really care. We allow the government, the people at the top, do whatever they want to. And unfortunately, it has to be said that these people are also from us. I mean, yeah, some of us will say, I'm not one of them.
Let me ask you one question.
Johnson, yeah, Dr. Johnson.
No, I want to ask you one question,
okay,
because
all
it
right.
will help us. Why do we Nigerians allow our governors to buy choice land while they were still in governorship? Let me give you examples. This particular one, he went to buy a property across, landed property across
48 plots.
48 acres, 48 plots across the state secretariat. I know Ibadan very well, so I know that area. And we've seen what has been built on that land. We saw how Tinubu bought Bodilon Road from Lagos State, how Tinubu bought some other landed properties from Lagos State. We saw how Professor Maurice Iwu bought the building that was given to him as the chairman INEC. We saw how many governors have bought the government houses and also at the national and state levels. Why do we allow such things to happen? Whereas these places were meant for the officials of the nation.
Dr. Johnson, if I had to be in your class, you are a professor in political science, and I repeat and repeat the answer I'm giving you. If you fail me, I'll be very, very angry. I will ask other people to mark my paper. There's no rule of law. Where there's no rule of law, people can do whatever they want. I was trying to give you an example of you can do whatever you like, but you cannot do whatever you like here. Here we have a former president who have accumulated, who started with maybe one plot of land, one farm, but now he has about 18 farms all over the place. Then we have former governor who have acquired, who in fact we have a former senator who surrounded his house with 40 cars. 40, you cannot even afford to do 2 or 3 cars here, Dr. Johnson, no matter how much money you unless otherwise there's a need for it. Because by the time you put into consideration the tax, the road tax, all the many other things, you will not be able to do it. Because here, there's a rule of law. We don't have rule of law. You're asking me, why is that? Is that it is the answer to your question is possible because it is a place where you can do whatever you like. You can get away with murder.
Let's ask our brother, Mr. Festus in Nigeria. Festus, are you hearing?
Okay. Yes, I'm with you. Very quickly.
Okay, go on.
No, let me get your question so I add to what I want to say.
Why do we Nigerians allow such things to happen? The governor is there. Yes, he served for 8 years, but must he buy the trust land which belongs to the government because he's been governor? Is that what he should do? And we just all keep quiet.
Okay, we are going back to what I said initially. Now, it started from the problem we had with the Land Use Act. The Land Use Act gives the governor the right. It's like when they say in the Igbo parlance that you have the yam and you have the cutlass or the knife. Whatever you want to do, you do with it. Now, the governor is the one that signs land for anybody in the state as far as the state is concerned. So you don't expect him when he has interest somewhere, when he has a signature. El-Rufai told us here that if you become FCT minister, give land to your enemies. Now, the Land Use Act, yes, the Land Use Act gives the governor that power. And talking about the Morisiwu and some other properties that you talked about, apart from empty land, there was a time the racket that was coming from government having to maintain this building was becoming something outrageous. So that was why the Obasanjo administration, I remember clearly at a particular time, say, okay, now you buy this house. So when you buy it, the government will not have to be spending. You can imagine a house that was built for like, let's say 10 million, and you're using 40 million to renovate it every time. So it was in that wisdom where we started to do monetization policy where you drive yourself. Nobody has to pay you driver and pay the other things. That's why it happened. But this problem is nobody can talk because when the government is even signing, when the governor is signing it, you won't be there. He's not going to tell you until maybe another governor comes and is interested in that same plot of land or there's a shady deal in that same plot of land before you begin to hear all these things. And at that particular time, it's too late for somebody to complain. The Ile Arugbo place in Kwara, I think you're also very
aware, yes,
of what happened there. So it's because the governor is the one that gives, so they can afford to do whatever they want to do. Rocha Sokorocha in Imo was also accused of something like so. It's just like that.
Yes. Okay. Let me tell you something. I've worked for the government for several years, and I know that if they want to buy a particular property, they will make it derelict so that the market value will go so low, and yet they will award it to themselves. They did it to Intl, and we saw how they sold Intl to themselves, which is still a problem till today. So that when Obasanjo government did that thing, it was absolutely wrong. It was evil because those choice lands are meant for government officials. It's so that one official goes, another official comes. I mean, how could we be selling our official choice property to people who just come and will go? And this did the same thing in Victoria Island. Most of the Victoria Island properties and Ikoyi were sold to the officials who had understanding, and they made it derelict. The same thing they've done to the School of Nursing, Awolowo Road. You've passed through Awolowo Road, Ikoyi.
Yes.
Look at the School of Nursing, beautiful, working. Today, as we speak, they've made it so derelict that when they are going to buy it, they're going to buy it for pittance, and I know that they have sold it to someone. I don't want to mention his name on live television.
Yes.
And so, but then why do we African Nigerians agree to such a thing? Why can't we just say, sorry, you can't do that? I mean, I think that's my problem.
Okay, now let me quickly just respond to that. Now you are going back to what I talked about initially when I talked about they will frustrate you. It is not possible for the governor alone to do all the papers that will transfer that land to him. A few people will be greased. In Nigeria, when they say they grease your palm, a few people are waiting to be greased for that to happen. Now, who is that person that will tell the governor that no, you cannot do this? The next day, your result will be missing and they will kick you out. Then by the time they get to Supreme Court, they say, okay, he has original result. Let us pardon him and turn it to retirement. So people are now kind of saying, see, we cannot change Nigeria. It's just the state of hopelessness. We cannot change Nigeria. Let us allow them have their way so that you can also stay and feed your family. That is how we got here. Because if you leave government, if you leave your work in Nigeria look at what happened with us in lockdown here. Your life will just turn to something else. Almost everything revolves around government. Even the private sector revolves around the government. So once the government is hitting hard on you, it's a difficult thing. So I had a problem where somebody told me, are you as rich as Saraki? If the Nigerian police could be playing with Saraki the way they did, who are you to challenge them? So it's just like that. It's unfortunate that we all enjoy. It's a web here in Nigeria. It's a web, and somebody is always ready to play along. That's how we got here. So we align it. We don't have a choice. We don't have a power over that. We just have to live with it, and we just do our thing.
All right. We just have to leave that topic there. Thank you, gentlemen. We're getting to the top of the hour. This is Ben Television, and the program is You Decide. We've been listening to analysis from different angles, and at the end of the day, we will decide what we want as a group of people. It's unfortunate that it's not going to be within a limited period, but we have to start from somewhere. We'll just want to go to the next item we have on our agenda today. And the insecurity in Nigeria has refused to go. Insecurity is everywhere. And when we saw what happened last week, when vigilantes colluded with bandits to do havoc in their own state, then you know that everything has gone haywire. Vigilantes, supposedly good people who are running the affairs of security when government was lacking, there was no police, and the bandits in Katsina State said they are falling out with the government. They are no longer going to abide with the agreement. I don't know which government, why a government will agree with bandits that, look, we give you some money and you don't steal from us again. You don't kill us. Now, that apart, the vigilante is supposed to be watching around the neighborhood. Now went to give information to the same bandits. Then you know that we have serious. But I don't have the details. Let me ask the man who has got the details, in-house researcher, Nat. Keep up to date to what happened in Katsina in this last 1 week.
This last 1 week, we have confirmed stories and verifiable that bandits have taken over 3 or 4 local governments in Katsina. We thank God our chairman knows Katsina very well, Dr. Shode.
Come on, don't be personal. Come on.
I said chairman. I didn't mention his name. Anyway, Katsina happens to be one of the states in the northwest geopolitical zone of Nigeria. Katsina also is the home state of President Muhammadu Buhari, and bandits have taken over 3 to 4 local governments in Katsina. And the governor who had an initial agreement with the bandits can no longer that agreement.
Tell our viewers, what kind of agreement should the government have with bandits, with armed robbers? What kind of agreement? Please tell us.
But I think the simple language agreement was, please, we have a budget for you, don't attack our people again. And once the budget was exhausted, the bandits came back. But my strong, humble opinion is that these people are no longer bandits. They are Boko Haram, because they are not doing anything different from what the Boko Haram are doing. They come to steal, kill, and destroy. They also, a number of policemen and military men have also been killed in that area, and this is exactly what Boko Haram is doing. But the governor who is in charge of securing life and property in Katsina has failed. He has come out to tell the world that he has failed. This call on the federal government to come to the rescue of Katsina. The National Security Advisor was there last week with the service chiefs who have refused to go. And so that is what the life in Katsina has become.
Let me ask Otumba. Otumba, how did we come to agreeing with robbers? We pay you money and just protect us. So we pay. So what happened to the Nigerian police? What happened to the Nigerian army? Now the vigilantes now even went and gave information, and the governor had to be saying it was the vigilante who sold us out. How did we get there, please? Do we have government in that nation?
The same answer I have for you, and I will continue to repeat it until maybe somebody somewhere there will listen to me. The system, the structure allow all this kind of thing. Oh, something similar is happening in Manchester anyway. So where the vigilante or local policing will be colluding with the police, the metropolitan police. So I don't know. For me, and I want to repeat again and again and again, you have a policing system where they don't even have shoes. They're not even paid. I have a very good friend who is my age group. When he was in service, he told me that they are not being paid. Out of my little paltry pension, I will send him some money, and he was telling me the truth. They don't, but they cannot also talk. You have a place where the border, the structure of the Castina is so porous. There are little things people do in the civilized country to prevent, to avoid this kind of thing we are discussing. And it's a shame in 21st century that we are still talking about silly things. Our children will not forgive us in another 20 years and say, how come that 21st century where other people are doing very well, they might be making little, but we still don't get it right. It shows clearly how the kind of people we are. Forget about whose state it is. President state, Ajimobi state, or whatever, or Yakilume state. No, that's not the issue. Is how well do we, how much do we put in place to fortify, to prevent our people? Because the number one preoccupation of government or governance is to protect people and property. So for me to see any of the state that is now being, the armed bandits are unleashing their mayhem and all that kind of thing, I think it's very sad to even to watch discussing. We should be sending messages to government and governors, and also to see how quickly we can take ourselves to a lab to check our mental operational system, because it looks like we have agreed. Most of us have agreed. And why did they agree? Because it's cheaper for government, for politicians to leave them in such a permanent poverty. So when they want to go and get them in another 4 years, so they can vote for them, it's cheaper. So what do you want an average person who is who is helpless? He has no support. He has nothing to defend himself. So when Boko Haram comes into the city and they give these poor people who are Almanjeri, who has not eaten the last 2 or 3 days, they give them 400-500 naira. They will take it and obey their orders. So these are things. Please, I believe that we need to start talking and addressing the fundamental causes. How do we support it? How do we remove this kind of problem from our polity? That's the way I look at it.
Fife, Mr. Festus, I know that you are in Abuja, isn't it?
Yes, I'm in Abuja.
How do I pronounce your first name?
Festus Fifen. Fifen, fortunately, is my surname.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Yeah, it's my surname. I think it's the way they registered that they displays it like this.
okay,
Now,
Festus,
because of our time,
you are on the ground, and Abuja is not far from Kaduna, it's not far from Katsina, and you are feeling the insecurity one way or the other. Please tell all our viewers who are watching all over Europe, what's the state of security? Look, we are not ashamed. The European governments know more about us than we think. So don't let us even kid ourselves.
No. Okay, thank you very much. Now, the thing is, apart from being in Abuja, I was robbed. I was robbed sometimes in 2018, and the head of vigilante in my neighborhood watch was the person that even led them. He was the one that supplied the gun from the investigation. Yeah, I'm giving you a personal experience now.
Yes, yes.
The chairman was aware of that. Now, in Nigeria, I followed it up. Now, with the few phone numbers I have here, and with the few people I interact with, you would think that I would be able to get justice when I was robbed. The boys that came to rob me, they were apprehended. But as I'm talking to you, 2 years later, I did not recover toothpick from that, even when everybody that was involved was apprehended. What I was able to discover, what I was able to find out is that the security apparatus feels that the government has failed them. So what they do is to come and collect their due from the citizenry. That's what they just do. Who pays, who negotiates for ransom when someone is kidnapped? Have you not asked yourself how come we pay ransom and the ransom disappears? Who recently, yes, now I heard our elder brother HOO talking about funding. You were aware when $1 billion was taken from the SS school account to fund security? Was there anything better? That is not about funding. It boils back to what I was saying initially, that everybody sees any money in Nigeria as money that is coming from government. It is my turn to take my own. So that is just the underlying factor. Insecurity here is terrible. I pay so much. We have people here in Abuja that leaves their house. It pays you to build your house in the countryside so that you can enjoy nature at its best. But insecurity will not allow you to stay there. People leave their own house that they built and they come to stay in a rented apartment because of insecurity. And when you complain, you see that the thing is going nowhere. So at the end of the day, live and let's live is just what we are doing here. There is no sincerity. The man that goes and say, okay, I'm a policeman, I want to fight these robbers, when he's killed, for example, out of shootout, what happens to his family? They will be evacuated from the barracks the next day. So the wife will tell, don't go and kill yourself because we are the ones that will suffer. So there's nobody sticking out his head for anything in Nigeria. It's just live and let's live. If you can survive it, you survive. If you can't survive it, and whichever way it goes. So the problem with insecurity in Nigeria is, I saw you laughing when you said that this bandits that they are telling you is just a coloration. If a governor can negotiate with people that are causing unrest in his own state, it goes ahead to tell you where we are in this country. So it's a charm. If we are ready to move, we will move. But the way it is, until our value system will begin to place institutions and value. For example, now I see faces of elders here. I don't, if everybody respects me here because I have so much money, and you disrespect Elder Nat, for example, my children will want to steal money. His children will never be encouraged to work hard because they feel it is when you get the money, you get the respect. So everybody is looking for the money and not how the system will work. When you get the money, you use your money and your connection to make the system work for you. That is what we are all doing. So insecurity in Nigeria is a household thing. I think we are getting used to it.
Let me ask Dr. Akindele, because do you have any way forward, Dr. Akindele, listening to this? Because it's just too much for my head.
Well, I mean, like everything else, is just the system. I mean, if we prefer to have franchise political talks everywhere rather than have franchise industry, franchise factories everywhere to keep the youngster engaged, providing for their family and stuff. And this has been going on now, you have to understand, since probably IBB time. It's getting worse under the civilian regime. So these boys, they use them for political thuggery during election and everything. And then after that, all the three tier of government, they know these guys behind this thing. They know them. They know them. That's why nothing is done. They've been done about it. When they use them, they dump them, then they tell them to go fight for themselves. So hence they become vigilante or this and that. And so it's just it's a vicious cycle until we really want to change and look deep into our problem and start making, like the young man say, the work, let the work pay, hard work pay, rather than, if I go to Nigeria now, if I don't have billions and billions of pounds or naira to show, people say, oh, look, he's gone for years, he's useless. Us puppy is the model of the Nigeria, everything is changed since I was little. In Yoruba, we used to say Omoluabi, and name is better than even the Bible says the goat, your value or something.
A good name is better than
but now it's the reverse. So those kids are looking at a lot of my nephew and nieces. They all they want to do fast money, fast thing, fast. I get them schools. I try to get them scholarship over here. They don't want to know because they want to. One was telling me the other day he wants to send me £12,000 for me to buy him a car here. This is a guy that's doing NYC. Where did you think? Where did he find £12,000 cash?
Wow.
So it's not until we really, really tackle our problem and make sure these political leaders are doing things for us. But like Dr. Johnson always say, is education. We need to re-educate our population. We need to reorientate. I think some I would say some generation is probably too late, but we can start now. So we have
to start from somewhere.
Yeah, because otherwise, how many times have I tried to make proposal to say let's do something here? The government, none of the three-tier government wants to know. The course I did is not common in Africa. I say, come on, guys, let's try to do that in our university so we can have our own. I'm a practicing chiropractor, and we don't have it in Africa. Let's do this and make a proposal and make this. And because some of my colleagues came from America and London, England, that's working there, practicing there. They need more homegrown chiropractors to practice. No, you don't even get no response. Even private university, they don't want.
You know what they will contact you? They will say, "What is it in need for us?"
Exactly. Yeah. One actually told me,
YFM. We call it YFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah. One was telling me, why do I want to do that for? Why can't just let people come over here? I said, yeah, it's so expensive for Nigerian students to come and go to university. We can do our own. We can keep the kids working, and they're not interested. They say, so it's all we can do. We can try to make changes, but until our people are ready.
Thank you so much. Let me ask you, Otumba wanted to add something.
Yeah, I just want to add that again and again and again, you will agree with me that if you're looking for poverty, say for example, the system here were to freeze all the benefits people are getting, you will see that the poverty and worry will be a child play. If this country were to say, you know what, you're on your own, blood will be flowing from here to Abuja. So what am I saying? What I'm saying here is, and also I want to also say this, that it is not easy. I know, because I keep talking about rule of law. Do not forget that we are being forced. We are being forced to obey the law here. Some of us still break the law. It is a rule of the game that you must not do this. You cannot overspeed, but if you overspeed, you can choose to overspeed. Don't forget that here, the system here they forced it on us.
The daughter of the queen. The daughter of the queen was fined.
Oh yeah, yes,
and
remember,
was
yes, and also she was raising for an event at the police station. Am I making sense? So really and honestly, the problem again is how do we get this rule of law in place? We love to be the person that breaks the law, and then we can pick the phone and call the governor of Osun State and say, October Kilochele, what's the problem? Your boys, some of the police, they just stopped me. I don't understand. I would ask him to give the phone to the police officer. A bastardized police officer. A bastardized police officer will be greeting him and say, yes, sir. And then tell him to go. Don't you look at the face of people you stop? So we cannot continue. We cannot continue with this kind of format. We cannot continue. We need to start talking about how do we change
I'm about to change the topic, but I realize that every week we have this lady in the house, and she's not been talking, but because she's in the house again, let me see. Mary, do you want to say something? I just saw your name flash right now.
Hello, good morning, distinguished personalities here.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And the topic is quite interesting, and sadly so, most especially the insecurity issue in Nigeria. I'll just talk about a bit of what I think that the government should do to help the situation. I think that looking at the scenario, most especially in the northern part of the country, where we have more of the youth without education, I think the government in that area should put in all the strategy that they can to see how those youths can be educated. And also in the area of job opportunities. You know, if you are able to create as much job as possible for these youths, you know, because recently I think we have lost, a lot of youths have lost their jobs, you know, recently because of either the COVID-19 pandemic or even before then the situation, the economic meltdown, you know. So those things have to be looked into. And if the government is able to do something to that, I think the insecurity level will decrease to a great extent. And
right.
I had a friend, just to add to the negative part, that I just spoke with 2 days ago. And she told me that every morning before she leaves the house, that the fear of going out, it's more than any other thing that you can describe. That because that's in Abuja now I'm talking about. That sometimes you get into a taxi and then they will lay you to a corner. Yeah. If you are a lady, you are raped, you know, and then all your belongings taken away from you. So the situation
Mary,
just as
you just mentioned, sorry to cut you. You just mentioned rape. In the last 3 weeks, we've been hearing rape. Have we gone that, have the men gone that depraved that everything is rape like India?
I absolutely cannot say what is going on. It seems like the demon himself has landed in the land, you know, because
I disagree. It has always been there.
Next week we're going to do, I'm going to ask Nat to do us a research into the level of rape activities in Nigeria. I mean, it's gone to such a level, every news item, rape. Is it that bad?
It has always been that bad. It's just that now the awareness to speak out is increased. And with this lockdown, a lot of people are now active on the social media. They have been fiddling with their phone for the past 3 months. So they now speak out. Apart from those celebrity rape, those ones that they said 10 years ago, 5 years ago, those ones are not my business really. But the ones of pedophiles and people defiling young girls and young boys and the rest, it has always been there. But these days, what we just have that is different is that people are now bringing it to bear. so that we will all know it has always been there, but
should be
they were
thinking of
not
how to
reported.
make money, how to go and work, and what they think of is how to rush a girl in a corner.
You know, the rushing a girl in the corner also goes back to what Dr. Mary was just talking about. When you're jobless, when you don't have whatever you are thinking, you can't even afford the girl that you like, because it's like cash and carry over here. Until you have money, you cannot even approach a girl, for some anyway. So what is available becomes desirable. I think that's what they are just doing. And vulnerability is another thing.
You decide. We'll have to go deep into these. We will do all the necessary research and bring it out next week. We will have to spend 7 days to study it, how it has gone this far, remote courses and stolen money and all those things. I think there are factors into it. And so we just have to bring it up because it's too much. It was India that we thought had the highest level of rape, when gangs go into buses to rape girls going home. I mean, we all read it all over the world, and it was such a terrible, and they allowed the girl to die. So, I mean, it's not coming up in Nigeria. I think you decided to discuss this issue. Let's play politics a little bit. Sorry, let's discuss politics. Just joking. Let's discuss politics. Nat, bring us to state what happened in APC, that the chairman was thrown out. I'm talking of Adams Oshiomhole, and the man who thought he was going to be chairman, Victor Giadam, was also thrown out. And a man from Kebbi who wasn't even thinking to be the chairman is now going to. What really happened? What are the implications for Tinubu? What are 2023? What are the implications for Obaseki 2020? Please bring our viewers to level we want to know.
Okay, thank you. APC stands for All Progressive Congress as a political party, and because of time factor, we wouldn't want to go to the history of how there was an amalgamation of strange bedfellows. We call them strange bedfellows.
Okay.
From CPC to ANPP to APGA and PDP. Yeah, and I think what they were more interested in winning elections, but not in governance. And they really didn't mix together to become a political party, because it's like everybody retained her identity. And when they got into power in 2015, I think there was a gentleman agreement that the CPC faction will control the government, while ACN will control the political party, and the other groups will secure some appointments, but it didn't happen that way. Because one thing is, if you want to test the integrity of anybody, just give him or her or a teaspoon of power, and you see how it will change those individuals. But it got to a climax. John Oyegun was pushed out as the national chairman. Adams Oshiomhole was brought in as a national chairman, and it's a tenure of 4 years, renewable. But Oyegun completed his 4-year tenure. Adams Oshiomhole was brought in by Buhari himself and Jagaban. Tinubu, Ahmed Tinubu brought in Adams Oshiomhole. And we know Adams Oshimole's background as a trade union leader, president of NLC. He came in with his brand new ideas of party supremacy, and the Nigerian politicians were not ready for any party supremacy. And
especially in Gige.
Especially in Gige. And especially there's no ideology in politics in Nigeria. You can move in from party A to B anytime, anyhow, anywhere. It got to a climax that Isako West local government area of Edo State suspended Adams Ashimale because that is his ward, that is where he comes from. He ignored them. He said they were too small to suspend a national party chairman. But the ward level took it up to the local government, from local government to the state, and the state approved all the actions from the ward and the local government, and Adams Ashimole was suspended. But we go to Abuja, he decided to sit on that suspension issue. They're supposed to have considered it in the NWC, where he was the chair, but he sat on it until it went to court and he was suspended, and he could not suspend the court anyway. He had to go on suspension. First suspension, second suspension. And everybody was heading to the court. And the courts were cashing in, making billions of naira out of those individuals or the groups that went to court with such issues. Now, one Honorable Chief Victor Giadam from Rivers State, a Deputy National Secretary, saw an opportunity for him to cross from being a secretarial to being an executive, and he appointed himself and declared himself as an acting national chairman of APC. And there were challenges to his claim, but he kept getting orders, getting rulings from court favorably putting him to that position. And last week, Thursday, we find even the president himself, Buhari, nodding to the acting chairmanship of Victor Giadam, because Victor Giadam conveyed a meeting of the National Executive Committee and NWC of APC. The president was there, and it was not in the party secretariat, it was right inside the villa. And there are differences in views on that.
Was Adams Oshiomhole invited to that meeting?
No, since he was suspended, he wasn't invited.
Was Tinubu invited to that meeting?
What do you say?
Tinubu was invited to that meeting.
Tinubu doesn't have an official position in the APC to have been invited for that meeting, so he was not. And those were the key people that needed to be there. Buhari was at the meeting, chaired by Giadam. The vice president was there. 17 governors, state governors of the APC were there, and some members of the NWC of APC. After Giadam had declared the meeting officially opened, it was now time for the president to read his speech, let me call it his speech. And he read his speech, and there were 4 main issues the president told the APC to address, as they were self-destructing themselves. And the APC, if they didn't take time, if they didn't take what the president was saying, there may be no APC even in 2023. And so the president said the NEC committee had recognized the primaries of APC in Edo State, where Izeyamu was the candidate. Then the next one was all cases in court, individuals or groups, should be withdrawn. If not, there will be dire consequences for individuals who will not obey such
party directive.
Yes, party directive. And then the issue of the acting national chairman of the party, Victor Giadom, had positioned himself, sitting next to the president. He was waiting for a confirmation of his appointment, only to be told, you are hereby dissolved. You cannot have this position. You can try maybe in the next 6 months. And there and then, the game changed. The APC politics in Nigeria changed. A caretaker committee was appointed with 13 members to prepare for a national convention in 6 months' time. That takes us to 2020, 2021 January. And then they will be shopping for a new chairman of the party. They'll be shopping for members of the National Working Committee and other officers at the state and maybe local government level. This is where the APC is at the moment.
Let me ask our dear Otumba Olabode. We've listened to that comprehensive presentation. Thank you, Nat. I always trust you. Otumba, where go at Kuvadi's APC 2023?
Well, thank you again. I picked three areas in Nat's report or analysis or whatever. The one I find very interesting that I believe some of us or most of us should be looking at is how the downfall of Oshiomhole. His downfall was not overspeeding on the highway. His downfall comes from a very little not recognized area of law, and that is a small place, his ward, which the constitution is clear, even though I always say rule of law, but then it's convenient for Nigerians, especially those elites or those one at the top. If they want to take advantage of what the rule of law is, they will take advantage of it. You can imagine that he was suspended by his ward, and he was taking it like it is a small thing. Ward is there's nowhere. Forgetting that the rule is clear, that you start your journey to become president or anything from your ward. So if the ward so chooses to withdraw your representation or representing them, yeah, that is finished. So that I think that is well accurate and everything. Every other thing for me is just like again by product way by events that are not really for me.
Otumba, I want you to move from that Oshiomhole to Obaseki. The problem between Oshiomhole and Obaseki, did he have a major part to play to pull down Oshiomhole?
Of course, there's no doubt. When we are all witness, when the pressure, when the argument here and there was going on of, I mean, I'm the godfather, you are the godson, and when they are quarreling and skirmishes was going on in Edo State, I'm sure it was not the thinking of the Esako 10, the word of Esako or Esako, whatever it is, that it's not the chairman that has the brains that thinks about it. The best thing we can do now is to suspend Oshiomhole. It was a pressure from government house or from Obaseki, that because he knows a little bit, even though I'm not too sure whether he completed his studies in University of Ibadan or not, but at least he was able to put pressure on say, look, if you do this, that is going to hit him hard, and then we can start getting rid of him. Now, but I don't know whether I've addressed that area. So, but let me quickly deal with other things.
No. I still have one more question for you because I know you are a very wise man. Now, I have two more. No, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
In 2015, 4 years ago, when they were contesting, Oshiomhole said so many unprintable things about Ize Iyamu, who was then representing PDP, wanted to be the governor of Edo State. Now, with a vote face, Oshiomhole is now supporting Ize Iyamu. APC is presenting Ize Iyamu as the savior of the of the state when APC said he's a rogue, he's a rogue, he's a rogue. I mean, tell us, how do we behave like that in Nigeria?
Again, I will take you to my first chapter of my book, Rule of Law. We have a situation where it's everything rough. And I've agreed with some of my very close friends who are also very erudite. I always say to them, here we have a situation, if we don't have rule of law, the only thing we have is rough. Rough means for me, anything goes. Anybody can do anything they like. So if we want to break down what happened in 2015 when one person left, was wanted to contest on another political party, and we all see him then as a villain, as a rogue, whatever. And then from nowhere, they now swap him to wanting to become the good man now. Isn't that enough for Rofo? Will have happened in somewhere in Georgia, in some other places of civilization? No, but because everything goes in Nigerian politics, and we cannot do anything about it because everybody is taking advantage of everybody. So that is what I think happened in that sense. Because here now you can see most of the screening, of the screening that was supposed to have been done. And I want to put my bet here today. Yeah, openly. This the whole world can see this. I will be shocked if the person that was disqualified based on disqualification wins the election and keep his post and keep the result of the election. It's not going to happen. Even though I always say rule of law.
Are you talking of Obaseki?
Well, I don't know how many of them.
Mention his name. Mention his name because he's been taken and the court has said that he can contest if he so wishes.
That is what is before the court. The next thing that is going to be before the court is look into this. It's, as a legal person, the court will deal with the matter arising, the matter at the moment. So when he wins, they will now deal with his qualification as a matter.
Until the court.
And I quickly want to talk about Tinubu. Just 1 second, please. Now, for me, and I want to say this as we speak in the whole of Nigerian politics. Yeah, this is not speaking for anybody. I have coined out this word Rofo. Tinubu can be seen as the master of Rofo politics in Nigeria. Take it or leave it. So if it comes to time of 2023 or 20, whatever it is, where I just want to see, or I want to be told that this particular person can also be a very good Rofo game person.
Thank you very much, Otumba. Festus, you are still with us. Oh, Festus is not with us. He's gone for his lunch.
I'm here. I am here. I can hear you loud.
Oh, you can hear?
Yeah, very loud and clear. I wouldn't leave. The Rofo was very interesting for me to listen to.
Yes, now, because I know you Nigerians, you have Pandejam and Okoroko, which okay, all right, seriously, you are the man on the ground. And what do you see to this? I mean, look at it from this triangle of Obaseki, Ize-Iyamu, Oshiomhole. What transpired? What has happened? I mean, this is the first time in history, in the history of a Nigerian state, where two men will vote in two different parties, and 4 years after, both men change party at the highest level in the state, and they're contesting against each other. I mean, I've never seen it since I was born in Nigeria, but here it is happening. Now you are the man on the ground. Please tell us.
Thank you very much for that. Now, one thing I want to say, I remember you said something about a name calling, Oshiomhole calling Ize-Iyamu name and whatever. It also boils back to what Otumba has said. If you think whatever Oshiomhole was saying that he meant it, you are just wasting your time. In Nigeria, in politics, there is what we call mudslinging. And it is not in other climes. I think they also weigh the weight of whatever you are saying and the credibility involved. But in Nigeria, we don't weigh. I can just look at Danat now and just tell him that you slept with my wife last night. And I tell you, let's meet in court. Because I know I have one or two things, one or two strings to pull in the court. And if you take them seriously, you will be wrong. Somebody in this country said someone was perpetually inelectable. At the end of the day, after how many years, it was the person campaigning for that same person to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So in Nigeria, we don't take those things, we don't take it seriously in Nigeria. Now to go straight to Izeyamu and Obaseki and Oshiomhole, first and foremost, like the Jagaban told Ambode, I don't know, it was trending that I told Ambode that Izia Fashola, that you are complaining about this hand picking, but that was how we also handpicked you too.
Yeah,
so you are a
Fashola.
beneficiary of the, it's Fashola, you're also a beneficiary of the hand picking. Now, yes, Izeyamu, I think if you ask me right now, I've interviewed him a couple of times on the platform of BENTV, so I've had interactions with him. I think he was becoming too desperate, because right now I'm even asking myself, how is he going to survive? Because most of his network, most of the people he knows, they are in the PDP. And now he has gone to the APC, and the followership, I don't think he still has that support compared to when he was in the PDP. That is one. Then Obaseki coming to the PDP because of our Nigerian system, and he's the one currently holding the knife and the yam. People that don't even like him will support him because he has the money, he's the state governor. But
he has the ATM.
He has the ATM, so he will pay anybody that is ready to work for him. But you can see the drama, how he got to be nominated. I think about 3 or 4 days. He's coming to a party and you got nominated, and I don't know about that, but
they waived the constitution
for him. Now, Otumba will be talking about rule of law now. This is our constitution we are waiving, like as if we are waiving a naira note or a pound bill. Now, talking about Oshiomhole, there is something I have learned over time in leadership schools. Learn to know when to leave the stage. Some of
when
us
the ovation is loud.
Yes, some of us as parents, we also make this mistake. You want to force your children to do some things. You don't learn when to allow them. Once they get to adulthood, learn to allow them take some decisions. You now be the one to guide, not to always decide. Oshiomhole came from the background of always confronting as a labor leader. It was always, his words were like law. He did not know that it is not the same in politics. He did not know that he is now a former governor, and as a political party chairman in Nigeria, you don't have the kind of money that the governor has to play with. Security vote is not accounted for. So the governor can decide to play with that money whichever way he is okay with it, and he does something with it. So Oshiomhole insisting too much, he shot himself in the leg. And funny enough, as far as the politics of Edo State is concerned, Obaseki is a neophyte. He was never there compared to Izeyamu that has always been contesting, and he knows 1 or 2 things. So Oshiomhole brought Obaseki, but he did not allow that man to become the governor. You remember what the governor said at the time? I cannot be a governor and not be a governor. That is, I can't be the one heading the state, and I don't know what is happening in my own state. So I think it's lesson for godfathers to learn.
But that happens in Lagos State. Lagos State, you are the governor, but not the governor. That happens
no, in Lagos State, the politics of the Southwest is not just in Lagos alone. It is the Southwest, it's a region. And that is what Oshiomhole does not enjoy in Edo State. And having to think, if not very recently, now that Obaseki defected, Edo State was a standalone in the South-South. So he does not, for example, whatever happens in Lagos, people come from Osun to become governor in Lagos. People come from Ekiti, people come from other places to become. So the Southwest cannot be used as an example in the South-South. So if you don't know the position you are standing, you tend to take some decisions that will lead you into trouble. Oshiomhole thought he was strong because he felt that he was the national chairman. But in the words of Otumba now, he didn't know that Nigerian politics is rough fight. So the rough fight actually kicked him out of the way. So if only we learn as godfather, this was the man that was celebrating that he retired all the godfathers in Edo State. He was boasting that he retired Saraki, he retired this, he retired that, he retired Dino, he retired this. He didn't know that he will soon be retired too, because right now I don't even know where he's going to start from. So the lesson from that, or the film playing out in
we understand that it's very much within APC. His last statement was, "I pledge my full loyalty to President Buhari." That was
where is Kawu Baraje, if I may ask you? Where is Kawu Baraje?
No. I understand it will be given a soft landing. either
he will land into oblivion. The landing is not the problem. He will land into oblivion. Nobody would record with him again. That is the thing.
Understand is in line.
Never say never in Nigerian politics. Never say never.
It's in line for a ministerial appointment or ambassadorial appointment. I can assure you. They want to give him a soft landing. But of course, like you said, you can get a soft landing and go into oblivion. That is very. But this 2023 is becoming very, very serious. The way we're handling it. Look at 2020. We started with the pandemic to George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, and second spike and all the rest. Lagos State is still on lockdown and things like that. Now, so we can't even predict 2021, talk less of 2023. I mean, people that who could have said the Chief of Staff Abakari will die, who could have said His Excellency Governor Ajimobi will die. When Ajimobi was 70 years old, he made a party and said, nobody in my family has ever reached the age of 70. I'm the first person to reach 70. But you know, he died at 70. And he has a special thing done in Oyo State. No governor ever had a 2-term in Oyo State except Ajimobi. Every governor in Oyo State is too politicized. Every governor had been 1 term. Even Bola Ige had been 1 term. But Ajimobi happened to overcome it, and now he's gone. And and I don't know what will be how APC will look like in 2023. But let me give you a glimpse. Nat, do you want to give us a glimpse of what may look like in 2023? If Jagaban is still there, will there be APC there for him? In what has happened to the relationship of Jagaban and Rauf Aregbesola, very close allies, but at the moment, I understand they're not that close. Tell us.
Well, let's start for the next 6 months. The caretaker committee is in place. And if you look at the composition of the caretaker committee, 13 of them, 3 governors, 1 from the northeast, 1 from north central, and 1 from the southwest. Their main task is to reconcile members of the APC, which is almost impossible. Because the composition was done in such a way as to predict what you will get in 2020 December or 2021 January. The offices at stake out there for grabbing is the chairman of the party, and then the membership of the National Working Committee, and then who controls the structure of the party, who controls the soul and the body of the APC. The APC membership in the South are insisting that the presidential candidate should be from the South. If they insist on that, PDP will produce the presidential candidate from the North. And if we go by history and by figures, you can be sure the APC may lose their presidential position in 2023. If Tinubu moves out the ACN out of APC and take them somewhere else, then APC is gone. But it's going to be a tug of war at the federal level and even the geopolitical zones. Like in the South-South, we have Amechi fighting Magnus Abe. And and then we have Akpabio, who is wanting to come from South-South to control the APC. And it's not going to be easy, because if Jagaban wants his aspiration fulfilled as the presidential candidate of APC, then APC will not have it easy. I think that's where
I think there's only one point I disagree with you. If Tinubu should move ACN out of APC, APC is so confident that they will win any presidential election because they have opened our eyes to see that the North Central, the Northeastern, and the Northwestern, they can neutralize every vote, and even not only neutralize, double or triple the votes coming from the South. I mean, if you look at the last election, and they have made it very plain, so that the power of Jagaban has whittled from the last election. But of course, Otumba may have a different opinion because we're closing very soon.
Yes. Again, thank you. I think it's better to say that it's going to be in the best interest of the country, Nigeria, to understand that the way even the rough structure has been keeping everybody going in the country the last 60-something years. The problem that I think Nigeria is going to face is to wait to see any applicant for the post of presidency from the North again. Well, whichever party the rough lay put it together, I don't think is going to go well for this sustaining the country or put the country together. And this is the truth. We need to let everybody understand that, because as it is, yes, I will not have anything against South and Southwest, but to even start thinking that presidency, somebody will feel president, for no matter how personalized or how politicized the polity or the situation with all the political parties that have no idea of what they are doing, because it's so personalized to the point that they're just doing it to make money. They're not serving the people. There's no service from governance. We all see that. But then again, we need to be very cautious and very careful here. We can put 1 + 1 together. That no way any other part of the country, if restructuring has not taken place, all the necessary requisites that will make the country moving again has not been done, has not put together. And now again, one part of the country want to apply or want to impose themselves or the region on. I'm not too sure. I'm 73. I've been away for 50 years. I don't live in Nigeria. I might not be part. My children will not go to fight. But I'm trying to prevent a situation that we need to be very careful and be very cautious, that we should start talking about how power should shift.
Otumba. Before we come to our last topic, Dr. Akindele, I know that you are in the medical side, but do you have any say on this one? What will you advise Nigerians watching their political life played and displayed?
Well, I mean, everybody has really touched on the topic rightly and correctly. All I will add now is just to say, it's very difficult to predict anything at the moment. Such prediction happened in 2015, last time. So it's very difficult to know what's going to happen tomorrow, even let alone with all these recent events of.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So all we can do is I just hope the Nigerian political system, I hope the mature. I hope we are learning from it. I hope it's our learning curve now that we're learning to but whatever they do, they need to make sure they put the electorate in their first priority and then work for the Nigerians as a country and Nigerians rather than our self-gratification. That's all I can hope.
Yeah. That's true. 2023 is a long time in politics.
Yeah.
It's a long time. We don't know how structures will move. Who knows? Atiku can shift to APC if the juggernauts in APC say come. I mean, Atiku is the highest number of shifting parties I think we ever know. He
must change his state level now. Probably go to somewhere in the southwest. Not coming from the north.
If we should see Atiku as the presidential candidate and Jagaban as the vice president.
Money talks in Nigerian politics.
Yes, that did not work. Muslim ticket. It not work last time, and I don't.
Everybody has forgotten about Muslim
No,
now.
no, I don't.
No, it's money. Nobody talks about Muslim anymore. I'm serious. Look at what happened in Kano, in Kaduna. It's now Muslim. Nobody's talking about Muslim. We've gone past that one. I mean, when the money talks, who talks about religion? So that's my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying that's a research study, but nobody's talking about Muslim anymore. So I think. Anyway, this morning we read that in Akwa Ibom, the governor wants to change the salary, wants to reduce the salary, the minimum wage, that they would not have, they could not pay salaries of everyone anymore, and they've not paid for the month of June as they should have been paid, and today is the 30th. Sorry, yesterday was the 30th, and they are going on strike in 2 weeks' time. And governor said, look, I'm going to reduce your minimum wage, whether you like it or not. Somebody has predicted 3 months ago that governors will not be able to pay salaries in 3 months' time. Now, now 2 months are gone, and it is coming to that. Our economy has gone very, very bad. And so one governor, they're trying to test water, how the NLC will respond. One governor has said, I am reducing the minimum wage. And you know, minimum wage is sacrosanct. You can't reduce it. But this governor said, I'm going to do it. And if one governor should do it, and the people say, well, half loaf is better than none, then the other governors will do. Nat, can you bring us up to date the economy that cannot pay salary anymore?
Well, today is July 1, 2020, and we are seriously facing economic challenges in Nigeria. The federal government can afford to pay, but the states, maybe 2 or 3 states in Nigeria, will be able to pay June salary. But as you are aware, with the COVID-19 coming into town, everybody is cutting the salary by 20%, 50%, or some forfeiting their salary for 1 or 2 months. But the basic line is that our economic stand is very, very weak. The Minister of Finance and Budget Planning has told the world that the problem is not the debt, but the problem is our revenue. But I can't see any difference. If your revenue is not coming, you cannot do anything. So the oil is not selling, even though the price of oil seems to be coming back to something like $40 per barrel or so. But our hello?
Nobody's lifting our oil.
No, and then we are only allowed now to produce 1.7 million barrels a day when we were producing 2.8. And so
who's buying the 1.7? Is anybody buying the 1.7?
Well, let's see as from July, because the June prices and the June market is gone. Let's see as from July, the next 3 months, because the oil prices and the barrels are fixed on 3 monthly basis. Let's see what happens between July, August, and September. Whether we will be allowed for our quota to be increased by OPEC, whether the prices of oil will pick up, and whether we'll have anybody to buy our oil. And
I have a quick question, because I'm looking at the time now. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay. I have one question for everybody. How much is £1 in Naira today? Who knows?
It's more than 500.
Depends on where you're buying. Black markets.
Yes.
CBN. There is CBN rate. There is black market rate.
Which one do you know?
For black market, as at yesterday, as about 520 or so.
No, you are wrong. It's 514. I'm sorry to say you are wrong. but
no
I
problem.
know, I know specifically.
The black market, and the black market I know might be different, but it's okay. The difference cannot be that much. So maybe I'll go with you.
540 naira yesterday. I mean, and I'm sure if you want to change money today, it will still be 540. I mean, it's that serious. That's why I'm jittery. And if nobody is buying our oil, which means we have no inflow of foreign exchange, then we are in serious trouble.
We've always been in trouble. It's just that we are not being sincere. At the federal, I remember confronting the then Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma, after a Federal Executive Council meeting, and he was telling us when they came in 2015, the emphasis was diversifying, that is leaving the oil to go into non-oil exports and getting more money. So the first year, so much was done talking about agriculture, irrigation, fertilizer, and stuff. The third year, I asked this man in the council chambers where they usually brief the media. I said, this is the third year running, and you are still using the price of oil as the benchmark for our budget. Now, these other areas that we have invested in for the past 3 years, what is coming from there? When will we start getting something from that place to be able to support our budget? And he just laughed it and waved the question aside. So the truth remains that
first of all, you have only 10 seconds to say something. What would you advise to Nigeria in 10 seconds?
We don't need the size of the public service that we have in Nigeria. Most of them are not doing anything. Most of them have not done anything since 2015. I have a cousin that falls into that group. They don't contribute anything. So let us strengthen the private sector and let us downsize to see, though everybody must not work with government. Bring industries up and people will go there to work and make money. That's just my.
Let me say that as someone who has worked in the Nigerian civil service, the Nigerian parliament, you are 100% correct. They are not loaded with work at all, in my own opinion, as well as yours. So if we can afford to do with a quarter of those who are there. This country, the United Kingdom, experiences 85% private interest. So why can't Nigeria? 85%. Nobody works for government here. Otumba, what's your last take in 10 seconds?
What can I say? That we need to find a mechanism. We need to work out a way of how to install what I call the software of a rule of law. So at least we can start moving, we can start making.
What we'll do is we'll second you to Nigeria, and then you can. Dr. Akindele, what would be your last 10-second statement to Nigeria?
Restructure. All aspects of our life.
Okay. You have to define what restructure is, because that's the challenge, isn't it? Nat, you have 10 seconds. We have to close.
Well, the Arosaya committee report should be implemented, and the confab of 2014.
What year you mean?
Orosai report.
You are bastardizing Nigerian names, yeah?
Oh, come on, no, come on. That's how far we'll go today. The program has been You Decide. It's been on Ben Television, the best black television we know in Europe. It's been for several years, and we want you to keep watching. This is Ben Television, and this is You Decide, where we give you facts and analysis, and we will come your way again next week, Wednesday. And like we promised, we want to look into the present and the past cases of rape in Nigeria and what has become the mentality of the young people. Why this rape? My name is Shegun Johnson. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. And
bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.